Hey everybody, welcome to episode 10 of Geek.0, and we know it's been a couple months since we've recorded. Honestly, it was just Avengers was so great that it blew us away. I mean, we could not formulate thoughts for 2 months after Age of Ultron.
Boom. It was just it. It just put us out of commission.
Not actually.
We were so wowed by Avengers. We needed to take a break from society and go live on the beach for a week or so, and
Yeah, we needed to take a vacation.
regather our thoughts. Yeah, we just needed to take a break and get a vacation in. So now we're back.
Yes, so all apologies to those of you, to the 10 or 11 of you that have been watching these videos on YouTube. But for those of you around that have been checking out our website, we have been continuously posting on that. That's geek.0.com. Usually at least a couple times a day, sometimes more, sometimes less. But we've been trying to keep up with nerd news. So even while we were or geek news. So even while we were at the beach, we threw up a bunch of posts about E3, which you guys turned out in kind. We got a lot of views and a lot of website traffic during E3. So we truly appreciate those of you that did come out and check it out. That came over to Geek.0 and checked it out. So that being said, there's a ton of stuff that's happened between Avengers coming out and today. We honestly don't have time to cover all of it. Mostly because I don't think anybody here is going to watch a 3-hour podcast or webcast, and I don't want to participate in one. So that's probably not what's going to happen here. We've got a few key things that have just kind of happened here real recently that we're going to talk about. Because going back 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 weeks to talk about stuff that's happened in geek culture, you guys already know everything that's going on. There's no point in us going over it again. If you want to hear what our opinions were on the stuff at E3, just check out geek.0.com. Okay? Easy enough. Boom. So, the first thing we're going to talk about today, it's been out for 2 weeks now. We both love it, and it's Batman Arkham Knight. Absolutely. It's a great game. Great game. Is it the best in the Arkham series? We'll talk about that. But it's definitely very good. It's definitely kept my interest many nights for 2 weeks. It's the first. I've been traveling for work for 10 years, and this is the first game that's made me take my PlayStation with me on the road. So if that says anything to y'all about how much I enjoyed this game. How about you, Sean? What's your favorite bits of Batman Arkham Knight?
It's extremely well done. It's got an exceptional feel for it. You can definitely tell that the game was developed for next-gen consoles in mind. Everything about it is extremely visually appealing. They've put a ton of detail into making sure that the look and feel is gritty and hard, and it's got that striking Arkham feel to it. The play mechanics are phenomenal. I've got a few minor gripes, and they're similar to some other people's. But other than that, the game itself is overwhelmingly good. It's not Arkham City good, but it's dang close.
Yeah, so, for me, it's City, Knight, Asylum, Origins. I think that's 1 through 4. And I think that's been kind of the consensus across the interwebs is that, it's not quite as good as Arkham City, but it's still a monumental achievement. It's a big game.
Yes,
it's got a ton massive to do.
And it works.
I really dig.
Oh, go ahead.
I really dig the addition of the team fighting.
Yes.
Where you can fight with Nightwing, or you can fight with Catwoman, and at one point fight with Robin. I think that added a whole new element to the game. The dual team takedown is awesome. It's a great way to dispatch of a pain in the ass enemy like a Brute or a Shield guy. Yes. That's my biggest gripe. Well, second biggest gripe of the game is those dudes with those stupid shields. I hate those things with like the freaking car doors or whatever.
Forget the shields, man. The guys who are electrified.
Oh, you get the little like electric thingy, and then you can hit R2 and circle, and you're good to go.
Before you get 85% of the way through the game, when you have to fight them. So before you get 85% of the way through the game, and they finally let you have that tool to be able to deactivate them, they're a massive pain in the butt. And play mechanic-wise, Mine is a double-edged sword. The thing I do, I think the thing that I think adds the most new element to the game is also the thing that drives me nuts, and that's the introduction of the Batmobile. I
It's great and
absolutely
terrible at the
love.
same time.
Yeah, I absolutely love the play mechanics of it. I love jumping out of it on the run, and being able to go straight into flying. I love the combat mechanics, the Batmobile takedowns when you're fighting enemies. There's so many aspects of like that, but I also hate the fact that I'm forced into the Batmobile to do certain sections of the game.
Like half the Riddler challenges.
Yes, and the forced play mechanics where they're trying to justify the use of the Batmobile in the game.
Yeah, so you have to run all the racetracks.
Yeah, and I'm like, come on, guys, you get it. You put in a beautiful aspect in this game of creating a good driving mechanic and adding the Batmobile as almost an extensively as a character in the game. And then you force it down our throats. If they would have taken some of those things out, I think I would have enjoyed it more in that aspect. But still, I love the Batmobile. It's a great addition to the game. The whole game, on the whole, is amazing if you're a console owner.
Yeah, if you're a console owner. Yeah, I was wondering when that was going to get brought up.
Yeah.
If you're a PC owner and part of the so-called master race, which I apologize for alienating any of the geek viewers that are out there, I can't not say it because I'm not a PC gamer per se. I have a desktop that has the capability to do it. If I stuck a $120 video card in it, I'd be ready to go.
Yeah.
Would I be playing Crysis at the highest level? Probably not. But I have an i7 processor. I have a strong desktop. I could do it if I wanted. But there's just something about having a controller in my hands.
Yes.
And not an Xbox controller. For those of you that are going to comment that, hey, I could just Bluetooth it, blah, 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 blah. I like the PlayStation controller.
I would say...
So that being said, the reason I kind of brought that up, made fun of it, was because a lot of PC gamers are incredibly arrogant about it. So it's kind of like a ha-ha on you for me. And I know that's going to piss some geeks off, but it is what it is.
So what's going on with the PC version?
So, sorry about that little rant there. So the PC version came out, and it's glitchy. It's having frame rate problems all over the place. It stutters. It blurs. It can't even maintain 30 frames per second.
And not just on an entry level for PC. From what I'm
we're talking $2,000 top of the line gaming rates here. We're talking,
actually, there was a couple of posts in the forums at Warner Brothers where guys are running systems with dual Titan X's in them. So we're talking $6,500 systems. They've dropped $2,500 just on their graphics cards alone. So incredibly powerful systems.
Yeah.
And the game runs like crap.
And they're even having problems.
Yeah.
And while it's a pretty game, look, if the PlayStation 4 can handle it, something running 2 Titan cards with an i7 processor can handle it.
Yeah.
Okay. But that being said, yeah, that's crap. You know what? It sucks that a game came out and had problems.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. But here's the real problem. According to Iron Galaxy Studios, who was outsourced to work on the PC version, to help port it over, according to them, Warner Brothers has known for months that this game was borked.
Yeah.
And it was going to have problems on PC, and it's because they were focusing all of their efforts. Well, according to a couple of anonymous sources who wanted to keep their job, Warner Brothers was focusing 90% or so of their efforts on the console versions of the game, the Xbox and Sony version and PlayStation versions.
Having read the articles and looked at some of the information, I get where Warner Brothers was going. Look, this game was supposed to come out early last year.
November.
It got pushed back.
November.
Yeah, it got pushed back to last November. Then it got pushed to December. Then it was supposed to come out in February. The game just kept getting pushed back and back because Warner wanted to, and everyone's impression was, and what they were telling everyone was they wanted to make sure the quality was there. Exactly. What it turns out, though, is Warner realized their core market with this type of game, okay, which is about 85% of their market for this game, was the console owner. And so they said, we'll deal with it when we come to it, when it comes to the PC version. And it turned out that there were so many bugs, they were like, you know what, we need to make we need to start getting money in for this game, because we've already spent so much. So let's get it out there. We understand there's problems.
Yeah, because what they're saying is that Rocksteady had a really hard time developing for such an open world environment.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of the problems came from. So one of the two sources, they actually spoke to Kotaku from Iron Galaxy Studios and basically said the PC version that went out 2 weeks ago plays identical nearly to a launch from a build from a year ago. So like literally no improvements were made on the PC version due to lack of budget. And Warner Brothers was not allowing any other third parties to participate in testing the game because they didn't want stories to leak.
That's crap.
Which on a game like this, I partially understand because there are a hell of a lot of spoilers. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this game. But to not be willing to test the game properly because you're worried about that is just insane.
Yeah, and to me, the more I read about it, I honestly feel like Warner Brothers' concerns didn't have anything to do with story spoilers and more about people talking to friends or media about their experiences with the playability of the PC version.
Right.
And here's the deal. I specifically remember a conversation with you about a month before the game came out, and we looked at it, and it just looked so amazing. There'd been so much talk about it. And I specifically remember you saying, I was like, it looks like Rocksteady's done a fantastic job. And the quote you said to me was, don't forget, it's Warner Brothers. Let's hope that the fact that Warner Brothers is associated with this doesn't screw this up. And sure enough, after all the puck passing here, as far as responsibility, it's come right back full circle into the lap of Warner Brothers as being solely responsible. As the publisher, they had the ultimate authority, to make a decision at the end as to whether or not this game was ready for primetime, and it was absolutely not ready for primetime on the PC, and they knew it, and they launched it anyway. And I'm telling you what, as you mentioned before, though PC gamers as a community tend to be a little bit elitist, and we love you guys. Okay, I was a PC gamer for a while.
Yeah.
They also tend to be the niche community that also has the most expendable income. And
because
and
I'm
they're
sure
the most likely
$6,000 on a gaming system.
And this group is the most likely to sue you for your false advertising and your botched product. So don't be surprised to see news stories flying about gamers who put out good money for this game with the intent of playing it and the false expectations set, and look, they will take Warner's to court over a borked game.
Especially when the night before the game came out, NVIDIA pushed out a graphics card update specifically titled Arkham Knight Update.
Yes.
Like, they put out a graphics card update specifically to play this game because it was going to be that awesome.
I had a good laugh when my GeForce Experience popped up with an available update, and I clicked on it, and it says enhancements and improvements to this ability of Batman Arkham Knight. So I was cracking up about that when I got the update myself, and I think it's hilarious and sad, honestly, that Warner Brothers was so eager to make a buck that they pushed out something that's so low quality. And it's I think the short-term benefits that they were trying to get here are going to be far outweighed by the long-term after effects as far as public opinion and buyer loyalty in the future.
It was a very EA thing to do.
Oh, very well put. Yeah.
That's what it was. It was a very EA thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's jacked up. Because the video game community, like you said, not just PC gamers, but video game community is a community that does have disposable income.
Yes.
And it's a community that definitely speaks with their wallets. Not as much as necessarily they should. You and I have very differing opinions on pre-ordering.
Yes.
So, my opinion is that paying for pre-orders causes this kind of stuff to happen, and I understand also where you're coming from, that that gets money into the coffers to develop the next game.
Yes.
So I understand that. But man, just to pre-order a game just to get a skin for Harley Quinn or whatever, and then for them to put out an inferior product. I mean, you look at something like Destiny, for example, where everyone's pretty sure that 2/3 of the game was actually on the disc, and yet you couldn't play 2/3 of the game. You had to pay for expansions,
Over and over.
stuff like that. Yeah, over and over. Which, speaking of Destiny, they're getting ready to come out with. Man, they've been going. They've been having a little bit. They've been having a little bit of a rough run, as well, here in the last couple of weeks. Bungie has.
Yeah.
I mean, between hey, we're gonna charge you however much for $40 for an expansion, but if you don't buy the limited edition that comes with the expansion when it comes out in November, you're not going to have access to all the downloadable content. To which they recanted on that, to special missions and packs and stuff like that, available only if you chug a carcinogenic can of Red Bull. I mean, it's just
not to go off on a tangent here, and I'll skip one of the other segments that I wanted to talk about, but just so we can have the time for this. But I think it's indicative of something that's been bothering me since the next gen came out.
Yep.
I think about a year and a half before either the Xbone or the PS4 launched, there was a bunch of speculation about comments Microsoft made about people not being able to play used games because they wanted to make more money off of them. Yep. So the idea was that there was going to be a token trade system where if you put your game in your system, it licensed it to that system. If you ever wanted to sell it to a friend, they would actually have to buy a token. And basically a new authorization code, a key code, if you will, to play that game used. So essentially, people just keep paying for that same copy over and over again. And there was a lot of recanting and going back on it. And then we found out that there's a not too far off from that process for used games on the Xbox One. And then there's been a long series of these Bungie with Destiny and the many microtransaction processes for expansions and extra content. Assassin's Creed Unity, which essentially allowed you at the time of launch to pretty much buy almost all of the things necessary to unlock content in the game. You could unlock all the maps and special weapons and things that normally a player would have to earn through play. Mm-hmm. I think we've gone into this culture of the mobile economy where major game developers are seeing these companies that release free games and make billions off of these microtransactions. Candy Crush, shame on you for creating this. Yeah, and then they're taking games that we pay $60 for up front and then saying, here's an amazing game.
Here's a third of an amazing game.
You can play 30% of the content on it. But if you want to give us over the course of the game another $150 to $200, you can play all the stuff on the game, all the characters, all the weapons, all the levels. And I think it's a crappy way to do it. There was just an article today again about microtransactions in Halo 5. And 343 Studios had to go through a whole system to set it up so that microtransactions wouldn't give players an unfair advantage in any way. They had to spend an extra month of development developing a utility or tool, a system, I should say, in the economy of the game to prevent you from being too powerful for the things that you bought. So
what's the point in buying them then?
See, that's what I don't get. I understand the game companies are trying to maximize their profits, and when you spend as much as a modern-day game takes to develop, I understand that. But there are games that sell like hotcakes that do not invest in this microtransaction economy.
Like
Uncharted
Batman
series,
Arkham Knight, for example.
What?
Batman Arkham Knight doesn't have a whole bunch. I mean, you could get the season pass.
But it's extra content.
Everything's available. That's what I mean. You can play the whole game.
Correct.
But then they add in some packages.
Let's not forget though that that's only possible because Arkham Knight got about every piece of bad press that you could possibly get 2 months before the launch because they had like 9 different versions of the game. So if you wanted to get all the content available in Arkham Knight, you'd have to buy a copy at Best Buy, you'd have to get the one at GameStop, the one at Walmart, because they all had exclusive content. And there was so much bad press over that before the launch. They were like, "Okay, look, here's the deal.
I'd actually forgotten about that.
It's available to everybody. We don't need the bad press." But I mean, there's exceptional franchises out there that have done exceptionally well, made tons of money, enough to develop huge sequels like Uncharted. Up until now, the Halo franchise has done very well. What would you say?
I was going to say I thought Assassin's Creed was one of those as well. Up until Unity.
Yeah. So you guys have a system here of making great content and getting paid very well for it. But this bleeding extra money out of people over the course of it, I understand if it's extraneous content. I do. But don't make your buyers feel ripped off like content that's currently available is restricted to them, okay? Unless they invest more money than the original money they paid for it. It's a bad precedent in my mind. And we're seeing more and more of it as more new games come out in this next gen.
Well, and I feel like it almost started with like the Call of Duty Battlefields of the world, because it was like
the first game I remember doing it was a Call of Duty game.
There you go. Hey, you enjoying this multiplayer? How about 3 more maps for $20?
Yeah, Advanced Warfare 3 was the first game that I experienced a large microtransaction economy in.
Yeah. Hey, you want to buy? Well, you know what? Battlefield Bad Company 2 had it.
Did they?
It did, because I remember you could go in and buy that. You could go in and buy big guns. And the reason I remember that, I mean, like you could buy the most powerful gun in the game in each class. And I remember this because I was just not enjoying the game at all, and my brother-in-law offered to spend the $20 to buy the guns for me so I would play the game more, because I was getting so pissed off at Battlefield, which I'm actually starting to get to that point with Hardline again, because I can't turn around without getting slaughtered, and it's because I don't play it 40 hours a week.
Right.
So anyway, but yeah, the whole microtransaction thing is, it's incredibly irritating. But
it's crappy business. If you want if you want to give me a game for free and then charge me for all the extra little stuff along the way, I get it.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh,
I absolutely get it. You need paid for your work. But when I pay $60 up front for the game, maybe in 6 months you can release some additional content and make that available for a price. But do not microtransaction my ass in between.
I wouldn't even be upset. I don't think I would even be upset if, like, on the HUD of Call of Duty it said this level brought to you by Mountain Dew.
Yeah, up in the corner.
Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't care.
I deal
if
with
they
ads
wanted to make
every
a little
day
bit of money that way,
yeah,
and then I wouldn't have to buy additional crap.
Yeah.
Or give me a Mountain Dew patch to stick on my freaking guy or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
That's funny.
Make my Call of Duty guy look like a freaking soccer player or a NASCAR driver. Whatever. I don't give a crap. But the microtransaction thing, it's just
and ladies and gentlemen, that's our anti-microtransaction rant for today.
Yeah. But the reason I actually brought up Destiny, it's funny that we got into that, but the reason I brought up Destiny is that the Taken King is going to have its own new PlayStation bundle. And man, it looks awesome, doesn't it?
It's like
they took your awesome Glacier White one and then made it like 5 times more awesome.
Oh, it's so sexy. And even though I'm thoroughly in love with my white one, I can't deny that this thing looks really good. Let me ask you a question. Awesome. Yeah. Have you ever seen another console in history that had as many different special edition full versions of the console ever?
No, and especially this fast.
No. I remember the Xbox 360 had several, I want to say at least 5 or 6 that I can think of.
It had a Halo one,
that was the
I think it had a Fable one.
Yeah, that was over the course of 5 years.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 4 has the Destiny White Edition, the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare Edition, the Batman Arkham Knight. There's 2 Batman Arkham Knight editions. Yeah, the 20th anniversary PlayStation.
And then doesn't it have multiple colors like green, purple, blue?
Not yet.
Not yet, but those are coming.
The 20th anniversary edition is out, and now the new Destiny bundle. That is 6 versions of the same console.
And 2 of them are just for Destiny.
Yeah, that's nuts, dude. That's nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
that's love there is what it is.
So it's let's see here, over 24 months we're gonna have 6. So every 3 months. Every 4 months, they're coming out with a custom PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it just irritates me every time. Man, I wanted that Batman one so freaking bad.
Yeah, we happen to know somebody who just bought the Batman one for his wife, and I'm telling you what, in person, it's so sexy. I
hate her. I don't even know who it is right now. I hate her.
So, I mean,
I probably know her. I got a feeling I have an idea who it is, but I hate her. So that being said, Destiny's coming out with Sony/Destiny's coming out with a bundle. It's going to have the 500 gig unit with a white controller. It's going to come out with the Taken King, which is $60 on its own, the Legendary Edition of the Taken King,
Yeah.
along
Which
with
includes the
Destiny
season pass.
and its first 2 expansions. So it's,
Heck of a deal, guys.
yeah, we'll see. They haven't said how much the bundle's actually going to cost yet, so it could be a heck of a deal. It could not be. We'll see.
Speaking of PlayStation and video game news,
Yeah.
so those of you who enjoy playing on your PlayStation 4 and your Xbox One, and who may have been malaligned or extremely pissed off, maybe about not being able to use the networks to play online
Yeah,
during
that was
the
the
holidays.
second one. That was the second one because I only get a few days off. I only get a couple weeks off of work a year, and that was one of them.
Yeah, you were one of those who was affected. So, those of you who are in the know that during the holiday season and a couple times since then, a hacker group known as Lizard Squad, aka we are all a bunch of tools. Yes, you can quote me on that. Go ahead, try to attack my network. I don't care. You guys are tools, absolute tools. These guys have nothing better to do but to take down the networks which service the online capabilities of these games, and they took down both Xbox Live and PSN network. PSN, excuse me.
Let's say like redundant. ATM machine.
And yes, exactly. And when they did, they wiped out the ability to play in some cases for over a week.
That was me.
Yeah, and I was one of those affected as well. And then it would be up for a couple hours, then back down. Well, it just happens that the Finnish court, they caught one of the guys. This guy's name is Ryan or Ezekiel, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce Julius's last name. Anyway, this tool was charged with 50,700 charges of computer crimes, data breaches, telecommunication-based harassment, and swiping credit card data. Now, here's the deal, folks. If this had happened in the U.S., okay, and if the credit card data and information that this guy had taken, okay, had been related to a major retail chain or a government issue, government facility or federal database, anything like that, he would have been nailed to the wall, and there would have been a court proceeding that was televised and everything else to make an example of him. But since this dude, okay, is from Finland,
where they do go very soft on crime.
He was given a suspended 2-year sentence and an order to help fight cybercrime. So this jackoff is going to be out on his own, on recognizance.
Still able to use the internet, by the way.
Yeah, still
it's
able
not like
to use
they
the
banned
internet.
him from electronics.
Yes, with an order to help federal authorities, help catch other bad guys.
So they can, give them a 2-year suspended sentence to help them catch bad guys and then have their own cybercrimes division made up of all people that have been caught? I mean, come on.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this isn't, keep in mind that PSN and Xbox Live are paid networks. Let's take the gaming aspect out of it completely. These are paid networks where people dump money into to have annual subscriptions to utilize these networks for online interaction. Whether it's for gaming, social media, I don't care. He took down these networks. He and his squad of cronies took down these networks, costing both of these companies hundreds of millions of dollars in man hours trying to get the networks back up, research, chasing this guy down, reestablishing connections, and reestablishing new security protocols.
And listening to customers and having customer support get berated for a week.
I mean, there's a lot involved when something like this happens. And so hundreds of millions of dollars in damages this guy caused, and he got a 2-year suspended prison sentence. Blows my mind.
Good job, Finland.
Superb. However, in other gaming news, the team that is behind the Lego Star Wars games has announced.
Yeah, buddy.
Disney. You what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know where you're going.
The very first game, the very first anthology movie from the Star Wars universe that's going to happen is a Han Solo movie. So, May 25th, 2018, Disney's planning another standalone flick for the movie universe, focusing on Han Solo when he was younger.
Which, by the way, will be written by Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire and the latest one, The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So, we don't know how The Force Awakens is going to be yet, but at the very least, he has the pedigree of Empire, the best of the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
I
know,
and
movies.
I have a lot of faith in Kasdan because of the things that he's done in the past. I mean, the guy does great work. And this is just as note. The movie's going to be called Rogue. Or excuse me, the first Star Wars standalone movie is going to be called Rogue One. And then there's a series of these standalone movies that Disney plans to make after The Force Awakens launches. They've already announced their intention to have a Boba Fett movie, a Han Solo movie, and a as of yet unannounced additional character movie. So lots of cool stuff in the pipeline for those of you who are geek and Star Wars fans. It's going to be nice to see a team of people who have good reputations for what they do, helming one of your favorite characters.
Yeah, yeah. Personally, I would have started with the Fett, but that's me.
Yes.
I'm still good with Han. Han being the first one. I'm curious as to how he met Chewie.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not a lot of Galactic Senate type stuff, like other Star Wars prequels that have existed. But I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm
Considering the
actually
number
really
of
curious
jokes
to
that have
see who
been
they're
made,
going to get to play. Huh?
considering the number of jokes that have been made about that very issue,
Yeah,
I have a feeling it's going to be more rapscallion, delinquent,
I hope so.
shenanigans.
I'm wondering who they're going to get to play
Yeah, that's a
young
good
Han
point.
Solo.
Yeah.
Because it's looking like Chris Pine's probably going to be a little wrapped up for the foreseeable future with some DC stuff.
Yes,
Might
sir.
play Green Lantern, might play Steve Trevor, the love interest of Wonder Woman. But I'm very interested to see who they're going to get. Chris Pratt. It would be awesome if they found somebody that was like young and upcoming, and Chris Pratt, and someone along those lines who's been opening big movie after big movie, Chris Pratt, and would be perfect for the role, Chris Pratt. So I have my thoughts on who should be young Han Solo, Chris Pratt,
Sir,
but
sir, you have a little bit on your chin there. So
he's my favorite. I'm a big fan of Chris Pratt, especially chubby Chris Pratt on Parks and Rec because he gives
Yes.
chubby guys hope.
yes, he's just a good all around actor, and he's an awesome dude.
And he's a good dude. He's a good guy.
And
And
here's
they already
the deal.
talked about him playing the new Indiana Jones, so why
If
can't he
you-
play all the old all
If
the
you
all the
couldn't
old?
think of Chris Pratt as a superstar and a half, think
Yeah.
of this. He and his gang of raptors kicked Arnold's butt at the theaters this weekend. Because Jurassic Park has been
Terminator's
out for
was pretty wore
several
out,
weeks
that's
now,
safe to
and it
say.
still kicked the crap out of the release weekend numbers for Terminator Genesis. Terminator Genesis brought in a week 27 mil, which got topped not only by Jurassic Park but also by Disney's Inside Out. So
Which I've heard is spectacular.
It
It's
looks
like
amazing.
Pixar's return to form or whatever.
yeah, so good on you, Chris. Good work.
Yeah, so also on the movie front, we're going to be seeing the Han Solo stuff, and now Netflix is going to be getting into the business of making original movies. They have announced a release schedule for its first set of films. They're coming this year. First one's going to be October 16th, and in some theaters, it will be simul-released with Netflix and in theaters. However, I believe the three biggest ones are planning on boycotting it because they're whiny little bitches that don't know how the future works.
Exactly.
So arriving on October 16th is going to be Beasts of No Nation. It's from the True Detective director Cary Fukunaga.
True Detective is amazing for those of you who've watched it. Exceptionally well done
I've
show.
got it on my media center. I just have not watched it yet. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah.
At least the first season. Second
Yeah.
season I've heard is a little sketchy.
I haven't bothered to watch it. The first season was phenomenal.
So, okay, the next thing actually bugs me, and it's the fact that. Okay, let me just say this: in the mid to late '90s, Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and stuff like that were my jam. I love that stuff.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. Okay, but now Adam Sandler to me is basically a punchline that makes movies to have his buddies in.
He's a
instead of
caricature of
actually-
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a caricature of himself. Unless he does something dramatic, and then he's pretty good in it. But the first of, get this, 4 Adam Sandler films being made for Netflix. 4 Adam Sandler films being made for Netflix. It's going to be called The Ridiculous Six, and it's going to be coming out on December 11th. And it has the regular people, and it has freaking Rob Schneider in it, who the only reason that guy gets a job is because he's friends with Adam Sandler.
Absolutely.
Terry Crews, who I love, is in it. But it's going to be coming out, apparently. This is The Ridiculous Six is going to beat Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight by a couple of weeks. So it's obvious they're doing it on purpose, just to get right out in front of Quentin Tarantino. And then in March, I think this is the movie that everyone's got to be excited about, at least I would hope so. It's the collaboration between Paul Reubens and Judd Apatow. March of 2016, Pee-wee's Big Holiday is coming. The follow-up to Pee-wee's Great Adventure, whatever it is.
Oh.
Come on, dude. You don't love Pee-wee? That's going to be awesome. Paul Reubens is the man. I can't wait. I cannot
What's
wait.
the magic word?
Hey, Zombie.
Pee-wee's
Where's my bike? Yeah.
Oh.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure is great. So I'm glad they're making a follow-up to it, Pee-wee's Big Holiday. And the fact that Judd Apatow's attached to it, who, for the most part, does no wrong. Judd Apatow does great stuff. So Netflix, ladies and gentlemen, first they got into the TV business, and man, it seems like every time I kick on Netflix, there's another new Netflix show coming out.
I was just going to say, while you're on the topic of Netflix, not only is Netflix's original content just blowing the internet and the television industry up, between Orange is the New Black, is Don't Trust the Bee a Netflix original?
No.
Or was that television?
That was an ABC thing.
Okay, so I just happened to catch it on Netflix.
Acts before its time, unfortunately.
Yeah. But House
Orange
of Cards.
Is the New Black, House of Cards, Sense8.
Yes, Sense8 is fantastic.
Daredevil.
I am firmly in the camp of loving Netflix. I do love me some Netflix. I even still love Netflix, even though there's talk of them changing their pricing structure and adding commercials to the lower priced realm.
I'll be happy to step up for a few bucks.
However, Netflix, I have to tell you, I'm very disappointed in you for passing on the opportunity to give Hannibal a 4th season. So here's the deal. For those of you who have seen this show, you know how exceptional it is. It is deep. It is disturbing. It is dark. It is graphic. But it matches the tone and feel of the movie and books extremely well. And the show is just very, very well done. Mads Mikkelsen is as amazing in it. Mads Mikkelsen. I always mispronounce his name because it's a hard name to pronounce. So forgive me, those of you nerds out there who are screaming at your screen going, learn to pronounce it. However, here's the deal. Season 4 was hoped for, and ABC canceled it, last month. And the director went on and basically said he was going to, basically cryptically said, that cannibals couldn't dine again. And then the series did not get picked up by Netflix.
Or Amazon, for that matter.
Well, here's the deal. Amazon passed on it, but Netflix passed out of spite because Amazon was given exclusivity for the first 3 seasons. So when it came time to get a chance for the 4th season, Netflix is like, come on.
You know what?
And I get it. I get it.
Hey, you know what?
But
it's their own fault for giving exclusivity out.
I'm sad.
Boo-hoo, wow, they should have pulled their heads out. That's why I have a problem with exclusivity, whether it be games or shows or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of the original programming on Netflix. Lilyhammer, House of Cards, Hemlock Grove, Orange is the New Black, Marco Polo, Bloodline, Daredevil, Sense8, BoJack Horseman, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Grace and Frankie, Chef's Table, Turbo Fast, VeggieTales in the House, All Hail King Julian, Adventures of Puss in Boots, Richie Rich. They continued Arrested Development, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, The Killing, Trailer Park Boys. They have dozens of comedy specials and dozens of films that have been just on Netflix as documentaries. Plus, they have 38 new series coming.
So here's the deal.
38 new series.
For those of you who aren't familiar, of those listed in there, there are at least
The only one
16
that
of
hasn't
those.
performed well, the only one that hasn't performed well basically is Marco Polo.
And what's funny about that is Marco Polo is also one of the highest reviewed of shows in the last 5 years. Everyone who's
So,
seen it gave it stellar reviews. It just hasn't been getting the viewership. But of the ones that you just mentioned, like 16 or so of those are some of the most watched shows of like the last 6-7 years.
yeah.
With
Orange is the New
absolutely
Black.
stellar reviews.
Dude,
Orange is the New Black,
if they had Game of
Trailer Park
Thrones, they
Boys.
would literally be owning TV right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Game of Thrones, Walking Dead. Put those two as buy those two shows off.
Yeah.
They would own television.
Yeah, we were looking at trailers the other day, and we noticed an interesting trend. So obviously, you got your major studios: Sony, Fox, Touchstone, if they even still make movies anymore, Dark Horse, Ghost House, Columbia, Paramount. Anyway, and most of those are owned by like the big five anyway.
Yeah.
But we noticed there's like 25 new movies that look very interesting coming out between the end of this summer and summer next year. And it blew my mind how many of the movies that were being made were actually being made by television networks. AMC, Stars, HBO, Showtime, and these are major motion pictures. So obviously the rest of the world is catching on to the fact that Netflix hit gold by realizing the best shows are the ones produced by the network themselves. Obviously, Game of Thrones is doing phenomenal and has been for years now for HBO. Dexter and a number of other shows did amazing things for Showtime. Another exceptional show that ended before its time. Terra.
The United States of Terror.
United States of Terra. So just original programming is definitely where it is. AMC, Netflix, HBO, Showtime, they're all proving that. That's where the good stuff is. A&E.
Yeah.
So Netflix, FX. Good on you. Oh, God, yeah, FX. Let's not forget Sons of Anarchy.
But just under Netflix, I would say is FX because you got Justified. I mean, a couple of them have ended, but Justified, Sons of Anarchy, Archer. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The Americans. I mean, just on and on and on and on, and it just.
Don't forget, and when you mention as far as I know you said FX is just under. I will have to say that one network that did really good with original content because it literally reinvented their network completely and kept them on the map was USA.
That's right.
USA, when they started making their own original shows, they completely turned around the network. From White Collar and Suits and just a number of other shows. Graceland, there's so many great shows that just made USA an awesome network to watch. Burn Notice, they're not as high profile as some of the others. Psych. But I mean, they're exceptional shows. And so it just begins to show, once again, original content is king. And Netflix is leading the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, Louis, the League.
Louis is fantastic.
I mean, it just...
And for those of you who haven't watched it, since we're talking Netflix and original content, please, 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 we have posted stuff about it. If you have not watched The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt,
it's hilarious.
Please go watch this show. Tina Fey
it's funny,
is a genius.
It's adorable. It's not. It's relatively family friendly. It's network show family friendly. Yeah. It's not 6:00 in the evening family friendly. It's 7:30, 8:00 Central Time type programming.
But it's fun.
And it was supposed to be on NBC.
And
it was supposed to be on NBC, and NBC bitched out on it. And so Tina Fey said, "Okay, I'm going to head over to Netflix, and they're going to make it."
Yeah, and she did extremely well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's spectacular. So, I think we've covered plenty of stuff for this episode.
Oh, absolutely.
It's nice to be back. Nice to be back. It's going to be another couple weeks before we do one of these because Sean's getting married on Friday.
Yeah.
And then he's going on his honeymoon.
This is going away, folks.
Yeah, heading to Las Vegas. What is that? That dirt on your face is going away?
Yeah, so I for good luck, I haven't shaved in the last week,
Oh,
and that's the
playoff
best I can
beard, I
do
got you.
for a week worth of growth.
Yeah, it's a
So
playoff beard. I understand.
I got an appointment on Thursday for Hudson Hawk, and once this comes,
You're gonna straight razor and the whole deal, or
yeah, whole hot towel treatment, man. I haven't done it in years, so I
nice.
figured it was time.
Yeah. Hope it doesn't break out your skin, man. Nah,
Hey,
just
hey,
messing
hey,
with
hey,
you.
hey, 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 hey.
Hey, yeah.
Why are you speaking
Knock
evil?
on wood. I'm just messing with you. So that being said, I'd say it's time for us to sign off.
Yes.
Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/geek.0. Check us out on Twitter / or at geek.0, spell out point. And then check us out online at www.geek.0.com, where we consistently post what's going on in the nerdosphere, the
Yes.
geekosphere, whatever you want to call it. Appreciate y'all tuning in once again. And with that being said, I'm Chris.
And I'm Shawn Michael.
Don't be afraid to let your geek flag fly.